Good morning. Welcome to Adaptive Chicago Productions. I'm Kenny Borst, your host, and today is a really special day because it is Wednesday, June 26th, 2024, my 71st birthday. And today on the show I have as my special guest Bob Hansen, who is a blind Chicago public school teacher, substitute public school teacher. Welcome to the show, Bob.
Hi, I'm Robert Hansen here, and yeah, good to be here. I was here last year, and been another exciting year for when we had 23, 24, and and got through it all right, and everything was going pretty well this year, and it's good to be back here.
Yeah, so Bob, for anybody, who didn't catch the last show, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I mean, I'm in my 50-something years of living, and 53, and, I've been all around a lot. I've lived in Chicago since, 1991 or 92, something like that. I worked at an airline for a number of years, and did a lot of traveling, figured, do that all while I'm young. And so I did that, and then I did other things. And then, when the recession happened in 2007, 2008 and all that, I decided to go back and kind of finish an education. And then I had to go back to work briefly, but then I finished it and graduated 10 years ago. And I struggled to get employment, because, a lot of blind people are not really on the A list for much. So got this...
The big D.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, we're at the bottom of the heap.
Absolutely.
And so, this woman friend I have, she started working at the schools in Evanston, and she told me that she knew people that would do this for a living. And first I didn't believe her because of the fact that, oh, you got to have all the teaching degrees, you got to have this, you got to have... But then I thought, well, she just told me to apply for it. So I actually applied for it, and then had an interview on Halloween, so I thought, well, this has got to be pretty scary. and then a month later, I got the onboarding, and then I got the job, and I thought, well, this is nice. And I remember that first paycheck, and it's like, whoa, I can actually get one of these.
Yeah, well, I could see why you wouldn't have believed her because, being a staunch realist, which I am, you always hear it, Yeah. Anything, if something seems like it's too good to be true, more than likely, 99 times out of 100, it is.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Eddie Aruza, a resident of Chicago. Did you know that as a resident of the city, I have access to a professional television studio at an extremely low cost? as well as portable video cameras, lighting kits, microphones, and audio mixers too. That's right, I can produce my own talk show or talent show or any other kind of show just by taking classes and paying a small annual fee. Sometimes I check out a camera package to record an interview out in the community, and CanTV teaches me how to edit the footage as well. The best part is I can air my videos on one of CanTV's 5 cable channels for free. CanTV provides extremely affordable and convenient classes and workshops for beginners and for people with some experience like me too. Fellow Chicagoans, this is your community access television center, founded by media activists so that you and I can voice our opinions and celebrate our cultures. But it can't survive or thrive without your participation. If you would like to learn how to get your hands on this hidden treasure, the Chicago Access Network, CanTV, visit cantv.org or contact the training department at CanTV today at 312-738-1400. I'm Eddie Aruza, and I'll see you on CanTV. Or you on CanTV.
Have you had any, can you tell us, have you had any exposure to any students that were disabled?
Mainly just LD learning. Now they call it diverse learners.
Yeah.
But I think I've been over like North Side Learning Center, which is on Bryn Mawr across from Northeastern Illinois University, and that's a high school with a lot of cluster classrooms. It's for people that are, you know, I guess you could say on different spectrums, and yeah, it's always fun to go over there. I enjoyed talking to a number of the teachers. They're like into the music and kind of that cool music that I like, and just very energetic and positive and upbeat, and they really you know, take care of the students and help them you know, achieve what they want. And then just in other schools I've been with, you know, around like just, you know, cluster classrooms, and it's always nice to watch how they learn. And but you know, not like no other blind or low vision students, not really, no.
Well, you know, I think your job is probably better than what it would be for an actual consistent teaching job for a regular teacher, because you know, with what they have is the same old mundane stuff every day. But see, what you have, being a substitute public school teacher, you've done students at all levels,
Yeah.
at many different schools all over the place. And plus the fact that, so each day is an adventure for you. You don't know what's coming your way.
Right.
And it could be scary, but simultaneously, while it's scary, it's also fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. You know, I mean, I've had pre-K, and then I get real nervous, especially with the real young'uns, because I'm always praying if it's going to be pre-K, and I've had kindergarten all by myself. Yeah, but you know, thank God I've had some of the pre-K, and there'd always be like 3 or 4 other people in the room, because I would not know what to do.
Well, you know, because that's the thing. You know, kids at different levels. That's the bad part would be, you know, for your job, is that with kids at all different levels, it's all different needs. If you have, you know, pre-K students, their needs in you know, how you would handle them is a trillion miles from how you would handle a high school student.
Yeah.
You know, and so you know, so I guess that bouncing back and forth could be a challenge.
Yeah. And you know, I remember when I first started, they'd say, okay, you're going to be in Miss So-and-so's kindergarten. Here's the, and I'm thinking, oh, and I'm almost like, and then I'm like, you know, when's lunch hour? You know, and I'm like freaking out, you know, and I'm thinking, you know, then I'm at the end of the day, well, that didn't go so bad.
Yeah, but I could see why you would, because it's like children that young, you know, and particularly, it's a learning experience for somebody such as yourself who doesn't have children. You know, you're not used to meeting needs on a day-to-day basis, such as what you would have to if you're, you know, if you're a parent. You know, if you're a parent, you're used to meeting their needs on a day-to-day basis. But the thing is now, the resource teacher for the blind that I had for many years, all through secondary school at least, she came up with the argument, and I think she was right. She got to know kids more intimately because she was a teacher. You know, she got them to know them more intimately because the time with them was so limited. She felt pressured to do things right, and so she was on top of her game because of that motivation, and she was able to, and she would actually boast that she knew her students better than their parents did. And I think many times she probably did.
Yeah. Yeah, because you know, with me, I don't get that experience, but I do get experience with, and it you know, it also has changed my opinion about, you know, a lot of things. Like, I remember I used to be one of those grumpy people, like, oh, blah, 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 them schools, blah, 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 you know, like that. But when you go in there and you start working there, it makes you see things in a different light.
Yeah, well, as you change and evolve as a human being, those things will happen. Something will happen to you at one time, and then other things that happen to you along the way later on cause you to perceive it differently.
Yeah.
At least that's what, you know, I've noticed in my own life.
Yeah.
You know, like I can, you know, when I would look at my social life, even as a kid growing up, you know, because we lived in a crowded little house in a city housing project, and our method of socializing was there were families that would come over to see us at probably 10 o'clock in the morning, and they would stay till something like 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And at that time, I just felt too crowded, and I didn't understand why we did things that way. And of course, now, as an adult in my 70s, now that I'm a senior citizen, I perceive things way differently from how we did that. And I think that it was the fact that having grown up in a single mother household, that's why we did the things we did. She was probably looking for social outlets, hopefully to meet a man, and that was the methodology with which she went about doing that. And at the time, I mean, I was like, can't these people just go after 2 or 3 hours? And that would be how I would do things in my own home.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, you know, funny how things change. But then, you know, I'm reading a book now on a recorded cartridge from the Library for the Blind, short stories, essays about different people and their relationships with teachers. And some of this is coming up. What it was like to be a teacher back in the 60s and 70s, and what it's like to be a teacher now. And, you know, it's, you know, morphed many times.
Right. You know, I mean, things have changed since, you know, I was a kid in the 70s. You know, we do things differently, and, you know, and I got an acquaintance of mine to do the same thing a couple of years ago. He started doing it, and he'll, you know, bring up things, and it's like I have to remind him, you know, we're just, you know, guests here. We don't have to take kids home with us at night, and, you know, just don't worry about all that stuff. You know, like these news articles. It's like those are just news articles. People whine and complain all the time in news articles about reading scores and the collapse of societies, and it never happens.
Well, you know what they say about news articles. You know, the mode of thinking back when I was a kid, and people would read the newspapers. People that my mother knew, and people that people she knew through the Indiana Workers for the Blind and places like that, and people at church. People would read something in the newspaper and they would talk about how outrageous it is.
Yeah.
But the response was always, well, it's got to be true because it was in the newspaper. Well, you know, we know that just because it's in the written media doesn't necessarily make it true.
Yeah.
And if you're a Christian, you'll say, well, it's got to be true because it was in the Bible.
Yeah.
Now people are saying, it's got to be true because I read it online. No.
No.
All three of those are wrong.
Yeah.
You know, it's not going to be true just because you found it written somewhere.
Right. And a lot of times those news articles will, you know, paint a doom and gloom story. And, you know, depending on who's writing the article, you know, what bias they have, you know, what slant do they have on it, you know, and it's like, you know, I'm here because I like being here. You know, I don't let some news article or a bunch of, you know, the world's going to, you know, where in a handbag govern what I think. You know, I'm not God. You know, I just doing my part. I'm just another bozo on the bus.
Right. You're a free spirit making your own decisions independently, and that's, you know, that's good, and that's what all of us need to do. And I think if all of us did that, we would have a much, much, much better world.
Yeah. You know, and I don't have control over that. I'm, you know, not a big administrator, so, you know, I just do my part. And that's, you know, what I like to do, you know.
Well, you know, as they say, you know, we're powerless over other people, places, and things, and that's just something we have to accept. And by the way, how long have you been substitute public school teaching?
Well, 5 years. I started like at the end of 18.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, so I like it, you know. You know, I mean, I wouldn't have quit. I would have, if I didn't like it, I wouldn't go back to it, but I like the conveniences. I like the little unpaid perks of the job, like, you know, and I'm always on vacation in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
well, that's a good way of looking at it.
You know, I mean, you know, I just save up the best I can, just save up. And then I like the fact that I get that week off around Thanksgiving. I get those 2 weeks around Christmas, New Year. We get a nice week off in spring break, like March or April, and we get summer off.
Yeah, you got summer off right now.
And,
yeah,
you know, I just went to a funeral out in Nebraska last week and got back Monday, and boy, did that wipe me out. I had to take the overnight bus back from Omaha back to Chicago, and I would not have been able to go to a regular job that day. I mean, you know, you get older, you just get wiped out, and you just want to sleep all day.
Yeah,
but,
that's for sure.
You know, just those little perks like that, you know, and then hearing every day, well, thanks for coming here today. I'm glad you're here. Because I think that the people up front in the office, they're glad that we show up. They wouldn't say it otherwise if we didn't, you know, if they didn't mean it. So, you know, I like that, and you know, there's just nice perks to the job that are nice. I like to figure I can give back to the community and do what I can do, and I don't have to be me against the world. You know, I like the fact that, you know, I get to, you know, see different environments if I choose to.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, well, so you see yourself doing this and until you retire in the next 20 years or so?
Oh, probably. You know, I mean, it's like, you know, I get to work. We you pay into a pension, so you get that, you know, and so it doesn't bother me. I like, you know, the flexibility of it, and, you know, it's been good.
Well, I think it's great because it means stability, and that's something we all need to strive for, is stability, and that doesn't seem to be, you know, as big as it used to be. I remember back when, you know, in years gone by, you know, people got a job when they were a young man, and then they kept that same job for many, many years.
Yeah.
If they didn't keep it till they retired, they kept it till, many times they kept it till they were outsourced. But it's like nowadays, you know, you need, you know, to go on beyond high school and do things and go some kind of training, some kind of college or whatever. But I grew up at a time when I was a little boy, young men were dropping out of high school to get jobs at the steel mill, because that was the, you know, that was the mainframe of the economy where I came from, in the what they call the Calumet region, northwestern Indiana, Lake Porter and LaPorte counties, Indiana. That that was the big thing. But of course, you know, now a lot of those guys end up, as they get older and their jobs got outsourced, end up wishing they hadn't done that, because they lose their jobs. When they lose their jobs, they're old enough to face job discrimination, but they're not old enough to get the Medicare, Social Security, retirement, and Medicare.
Yeah.
And they really do have all this stuff that you can't. They have all this stuff that you know, they're drowning their dreams away in the alcohol that happened back in well, Indianapolis Boulevard became the old Calumet City. Now, what is in Calumet City used to be, what's in Calumet City is casinos, where the bars used to be, but used to be where the bars used to be, but now that's taking place, from what I understand from people that I went to school with, because that's where I originally came from. Now, Drunkard's Alley is Ridge Road, which is the street, the main thoroughfare that you cross shortly after you enter from Hammond into Munster, Indiana. So, you know, that's the situation there, and I couldn't believe, you know, what I was hearing about that, and but it's funny because I'll be going to a high school class reunion later this year. As a matter of fact, September 21st will be my 50th anniversary high school class reunion, and I'm looking forward to getting teased by my high school classmates, because do you know what? I'm the only one in the class that doesn't have any gray hair.
It just all kind of fell out.
Yeah. You know, and it's really interesting because my brother is 4 years older than I am, and he's got a head full of white hair. He's got a head full of white hair, and you know, but was thinking, so do you have any final thoughts before I close the show? Anything we haven't covered?
I mean, I like the job, and it is stable, and you know, as long as it's there, I'll keep getting up, and you know, I mean, at my age, I don't need to go out unless I want to get, you know, a master's degree just to get it. I mean, I don't have to. I can just chill out and have a good time, enjoy it. I mean, the last day of school this year, I was at Northwest Middle School, one of my favorites. Panthers Roar. And two of the classrooms, one asked me if I wanted a slice of pizza, and I said, sure. I'm not gonna turn that. They're having, the second class, they had a pizza party, and they asked me would I like some pizza, and they gave me a couple slices and a little bottle of Gatorade, and then I had to go out and watch another room because, you know, the last day of school, it's all kind of just, you know, it's just a relaxing day. Then I went out into the parking lot because the kids had a field day thing, and they gave me a little cup, a nice big healthy cup full of popcorn in it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, where would I, you know, that I like that. You know.
Well, the great way to end the school year, and also a great way to end this show. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the viewers for watching this show, and hopefully you'll see us on YouTube. I want to thank my guest, Robert Hansen, for being with us, and a good way to end a school year and a good way to end this show. Signing off from Adaptive Chicago Productions, this is Kenny Borst.